morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice radio, so today we are going to be taking a look at a rather exciting Kakuna card. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're looking at Kakuna, and you know what? It's making us look, again, in a different light, at pretty much every Beedrill card we've got, except for Mega Beedrill. It does nothing for Mega Beedrill EX. Now, Kakuna is a grass Pokemon, which is nice because you are hitting Greninja for weakness, and maybe Lycanroc and Lapras if anyone's still playing them. But of course, all of this is irrelevant. You won't be attacking with Kakuna, although you will be attacking with Beedrill, so worth bearing in mind. The 80 HP is quite low, and that's relevant, because you're probably going to get a Kakuna knocked out, which is a slight pain, and the weakness to fire is an issue, what with the whole Volcanion thing. He's a little bit fragile, ladies and gentlemen, and that's less than ideal, because the attack here, for 1 grass energy, search your deck for up to 3 Kakuna, put them onto your bench. Yep, it's water duplicates. It's water duplicates for Kakuna. And if the format has told us anything over the past couple of years, it's that Greninja with water duplicates is good and viable. Without water duplicates, there's a very good chance Greninja, even if it was viable, it wouldn't be half the deck it currently is. So does that mean that we can go ahead and use Kakuna here, and all of a sudden we've got a viable Beedrill deck? Well, to be honest, that's what this whole video is actually about. Because you use this, you get all 4 of your Kakuna out, this is turn 2, and then in theory, turn 3, you just go Beedrill, 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 you've got 4 Beedrill out, and then you're basically ready to go for the rest of the game. But of course, this is only going to be good if we have good Beedrill to play it with. So, time to have a quick look, methinks, at Beedrill. And the one that springs to mind initially isn't the one from Crimson Invasion. It's the one from Evolutions. And the one from Evolutions has got an attack for 1 energy, 30 damage plus poison. That's fine, but you ain't going to win a huge amount of games hitting for 30 plus poison. We need to look at the second attack, Swarming Sting. 1 grass, 1 colourless, 40 damage for each Beedrill you've got in play to one of your opponent's Pokemon. That means that if you've got 4 Beedrill in play, you can do 160 damage. But the great news here, ladies and gentlemen, is that 160 damage can be put anywhere on the field. It does not have to be done to the active Pokemon. Now, it could be. And if you add a choice badge, you'll actually be doing 190 to the active Pokemon. That's enough to KO all the basic EXs and all the basic GXs, except for the upcoming Guzzlord, which is coming in this set, which has a frankly ridiculous 210. You're even getting the ones like Turtonator that have 190. So, this is a decent attack, and that's just hitting the active. Time you bring in the bench, you drag something into the active with a Guzma, and then you just snipe for 160. A lot of the time, you can get a KO hitting for 160. So you strand something in the active, and the whole time you can be KOing stuff on the bench. And I know at the moment Guzma acts as a switch, but now that we've lost Versus Seeker, people have to use Tapu Lele to search for Guzma. And as I'm going to talk about in a moment, if you're playing this, I think playing it with Garbodor, or even just Alolan Muck, the great thing about Alolan Muck is it just works, as opposed to Garbodor, who needs a tool attached. So if you've got Alolan Muck out, your opponent is not using Tapu Lele. They just don't get the opportunity to use it. That is super, super useful. The reason why Evolution's Beedrill has seen no play is partly because it's a 2 energy attack and that's a little bit awkward, and partly the fact that it's really hard to get 4 Beedrill into play without any cheats. It used to work in the old Speedrill deck that won the World Championships. I did a video about that, link in the description. But you had the Rising Rivals Beedrill that helped you search for Pokemon. You could use Rare Candy the turn you put a Pokemon down. And you had Broken Time Space, which was Forest of Giant Plants for any Pokemon. So you had so many ways of cheating to get Beedrill in play. We don't have that nowadays. Oh no, wait, we didn't have that nowadays, because now we've got Kakuna. Kakuna is very nice. Now, we do have a Beedrill coming in Crimson Invasion that I like, and I like it a lot more with this Kakuna. Now, the attack we're really looking at is not the 60 for 1 grass energy. It's 10 damage if you evolve from Kakuna during your turn, instant poison and paralysis. And again, ability lock here just helps to slow your opponent down, means they're less likely to have the cards they're going to need to get out of this. And if you've got 4 Kakuna on the field, then that means this turn you evolve into Beedrill, poison and paralysis. And then next turn you evolve into Beedrill, poison and paralysis, occasionally playing a devolution spray so that you can evolve the following turn. And this starts to look a lot more realistic when you remember that you're going to have Kakunas just peppering your field pretty much the whole game. You are legitimately going to have a whole bunch of Kakuna sitting on your bench, meaning that you can evolve up every turn into Beedrill, and off you go. Now we're starting to look good, ladies and gentlemen. The real question becomes, are either of these Beedrill actually good enough to warrant making this a deck? Now, there are some issues here. First of all, your first Kakuna is almost certainly going to be KO'd. Just like when you use Froggedier's water duplicates, that Frogadier pretty much always gets KO'd. So will be the case with Kakuna. You're going to lose that first one. So you're probably only going to have 3 Kakuna out, not 4. And you can get the other one out, but it will then take you a couple of turns. One of the great tools that Greninja has is splash energy, so that when that Frogadier gets KO'd, the Froakie and Frogadier go back into your hand. You don't have an equivalent of that with this Beedrill deck. That's a little bit of an issue. The other problem is that although the Crimson Invasion Beedrill attacks for 1 energy, that's your kind of early game buy a bit of time Beedrill. Your late game I'm gonna run through you and smash Beedrill is the Evolutions one, and the Evolutions Beedrill takes 2 energy. And that worries me a little bit. You can use Experience Share here, but your opponent may well use Field Blower here, and if you're playing against a good opponent, they're going to save that Field Blower for the turn before they take the KO, so you don't get to keep that energy. And if you've got Kakuna on your bench, you ain't going to be using Max Elixir. And if you're using water duplicates on Kakuna, you're not going to be using some setup Pokemon like Rayquaza to get energy around the field. As a side note, it's not actually called water duplicates, it's called Sprout. But let's face it, it's water duplicates. We're all going to accidentally call it water duplicates if it sees any play. We are way too used to using Frogadier. So, there are a couple of issues here. The lack of splash energy, the requirement for a second energy, that does really hurt here. And I worry that you're actually not going to be able to swarm Beedrills as easily as we swarm Greninja. Ironic given that bees or wasps do swarm and frogs don't. But it's worth a test, ladies and gentlemen. Because here's the thing. If your first Kakuna doesn't get KO'd, then you can evolve it, add that second energy, put 3 Beedrill on the bench, and you're off. Even if you don't have the second energy, automatic poison, automatic paralysis, that should buy you some time to start getting extra energy around the field. Don't forget that the Beedrill from Crimson Invasion has free retreat. Don't forget that the Beedrill from Evolutions has free retreat, so you are going to be able to switch between them. I don't think this is going to be as good as Greninja, because you don't have those single energy attacks. You don't have shadow stitching. But I think if you play this with Garboda or Alolan Muck to turn off abilities, and if you can get set up here, Kakuna's going to help you get set up, and then you can either be automatic poison or paralysis, or you can then go with the other Beedrill. Hitting 160 to anywhere is good. I like both the Beedrill. Kakuna really helps. I'm giving this whole Kakuna / Beedrill thing between 3 and 4 Wassies. I don't think it's going to be a great big powerhouse deck, but nor do I think it's going to be terrible. I don't quite feel confident enough to give it 4 Wassies, which means I think it will be a good deck, but I think there's a very good chance. Just remember that we don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section. Several of you have been asking for this video, so make sure you let me know what you think. Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. That's where the live action happens. If you want to support the pod, get some bonus podcasts, etc., you can do so at patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.